Welcome to lesson 13 of our interactive notes. Look at our table of contents, lesson 13, using equations and variables. That's pages 33 and 34. Okay, so here's lesson 13, using equations and variables. Our content objective for 4th grade OA, Operations Algebraic Thinking A3. I can represent word problems by using equations with a letter standing for the unknown number. Language objective, I can use equations with variables to solve word problems. Social objective, I can work with others to create a model to prove the solution to the word problem. We have 3 vocabulary words. Equation, a number sentence, a statement that two things are the same or equal. So 4 is equal to 8 divided by something. So whatever goes here has to make this true, that both sides are balanced or equal. So an expression does not have the equal sign, an equation does. Variable, a letter or symbol that stands for an unknown number or quantity in an equation or word problem. In this case, it's the letter V. V plus 10 equals 30. Well, V has to be 20 to make this equation true. Now this looks like a capital V, but it should be a lowercase. Evaluate, to solve, calculate, or find the value. Evaluate the equation. It's another way of saying solve. Find what that variable has to be to make that statement true. So for 225, take away something to equal 25. That something has to be 200. That's the only thing that will make this equation true. Okay. Understanding word problems. So here's those comparison bars again. I have 45 yards of red fabric and 72 yards of blue fabric. With addition, we join groups of different sizes. How many total yards of fabric do I have? Well, I don't know the whole, I don't know the total, but if I add the part that's 45 and the part that's 72, I find out that the total is 117. Subtraction. Take away or compare the size of groups. How many more yards? So how many more, how many less? You're looking at that difference, the comparison. When you're comparing, you're going to subtract. How many more yards of blue fabric do I have than red? Well, I know my total blue is 72. If I take away what they have in common, which is the 45, I'll figure out what's left or the difference. 72 take away 45 is 27 more yards. There's 27 more blue than red. So this is what we're going to be working on here. And we're going to make equations. Okay, so we're still using our cubes. Gavin has 1,094 building blocks. Avery has 816 building blocks. How many more does Gavin have than Avery? So we want to know how many more. That's a comparison. When we're comparing, we will subtract. So Gavin, how much does he have? He has 1,094. What does Avery have? 816. And we're going to find the difference. The difference is that how many more? How many more would I need to give Avery for them to have an equal amount? Okay. So Gavin is so many more than Avery. Gavin has or is so many more than Avery. As an equation, Gavin is means equals, or has means equals, something more than Avery. So we're getting closer to an equation. I'm not going to put these words in here, so I need symbols to represent them. Gavin, I can use the letter G, equals, instead of the question mark, I'm going to put D for difference. More than, if I look back at the last lesson, more than tells me addition, because the difference added to Avery, which I'm going to use an A, and these always need to be lowercase when they're representing a number. Gavin, well, I do know the number that Gavin has, 1,094. I don't know the difference, that's what we're trying to find. I do know Avery. Avery has 816. So here we have an equation. So I can either think, what would I add to 816 to find what 1094 is, or I can use what's called my inverse operation. And the inverse of adding is subtracting. So if I subtract 816 from 1094, I'll get my difference. Now, if you can't subtract this way, this is why we use the algorithm, where you write it vertically. But this is where it's very important to line up from the ones. So the 6 goes under the 4, the 10 goes under the 9, the 800 goes under the 0, the placeholder in the hundreds. We need to check for regrouping. More on the floor. Go next door, regroup 10 more. So I take one group of 10 away from here, add 10 to 4, I get 14. More on top, no need to stop. More on the floor, go next door, regroup 10 more. But this is just 10, take away 8. So I could just look at that 10 together, take away 8. 14, take away 6 is 8. 8 take away 1 is 7. 10 take away 8 is 2. So my difference over here, what my D would be to make this true, is 278. So now to answer the question, how many more does Gavin have than Avery? Gavin has 278 more building blocks than Avery. We always want to make sure we have a complete sentence for our answer. We have capital letter, we have punctuation, and that it matches our question. Our question, how many more does Gavin have than Avery? Gavin has 278 more building blocks than Avery. We are talking about building blocks. All right, here's our second problem. Fernando went to the movies. We don't really need to know that. That's just extra. He spent $38 on tickets. So spent is a key word there. He has $25 left over. How much money did Fernando have before he went to the movies. So we're trying to figure out a total. How much did he have before? So we're looking for that total. That means we're going to add when we're going to find a total with unequal amounts. How much does he have right now? He has 25. How much did he spend? 38. How much did he begin with? That's what we're trying to find out. Okay. What Fernando has plus what he spent. That's what we're looking at. So Fernando what he has plus what he spent. I'm going to use F for Fernando, H for has, spent. We don't know the total to begin with. We know what he has is 25. We know what he spent is 38. So we're going to figure out that amount. If you cannot add it horizontally, you can line them up vertically. Make sure you line up from the ones every time. 5 plus 8 is 13. 1 plus 2 is 3 plus 3 is 6. Remember, when we regroup, don't forget to add that into the total. So Fernando began with 63. Fernando had $63 before he went to the movies. Okay, let's double check that question. How much money did Fernando have before he went to the movies? Fernando had, sorry, that should be a D. This is why you use pencil. $63 before he went to the movies. All right, so now we're going to do more of making equations like these with variables in our 3-column notes.